Hello and welcome to Up the Villa podcast. So today's episode is the West Brom preview, joined by all of the boys. I will respond to the two Dan's Heart of the Holt comment. If you look on the screen now, lads, you'll see some of my work. Ryan, give us a little twirl, mate.
Oh, sorry.
Looking fresh, mate. Looking fresh.
How was it, mate? How was the service? Was the
mate,
chest on point?
Top quality, mate. Top quality. You're not getting better service this side of Brum, mate. Quality.
I can't believe they even question my ability, to be fair. But hopefully we'll get that little barber pod going in the near future. We'll have a chat with them as well. I think it's a nice little concept to get going. So I don't want to touch on the Man City game too much. I don't want to sound really fickle, but, you know, they're just so good. Foden, unbelievable. And I just think if ever I get to go into a stadium and I'm watching that type of football from Aston Villa, I'll be one happy Villa fan, really. So we've got all the boys on. We'll touch on West Brom then, and then we've got some questions from the viewers and the listeners as well. So as we speak, in West Brom are losing 3-0 to Leicester. So my opinion is I feel like they've got too much to do to survive now. They brought in Allardyce, and to be fair, it took them quite a bit of time to get going. It's only recently that they've really picked up a bit of form. I don't know whether that's because a lot of the teams have dropped off or, you know, they're starting to play for him. So, Seb, what are your thoughts going into the West Brom game?
Yeah, I mean, it's partly down to us, really. It didn't really help that his first game he came in and got walloped 3-0 at home. And from there, they haven't really picked up at all. They've been leaky defensively, which is something that Sam Allardyce has never struggled with before. So I think it's been almost new for him as well, having to deal with a team that aren't almost capable of dealing with his demands. So it's always going to be difficult when the manager and players are on different wavelengths, but I'm not exactly disappointed to see them go back down.
I do slightly feel a bit sorry for them because, you know, they got promoted to the Premier League. Last time they were watching themselves, they were in the Championship, and, you know, next time West Brom fans get to go, they're going to be watching them in the Championship again. So it would almost feel like they've just been in a time machine and just not even seen this season. I feel like for them as well, maybe the Dean Garner deal that's just not worked out, has it? I think it had a lot of promise. They sort of got him for a decent fee, and for whatever reason, he's not had that standout season that probably a lot of us thought that he was probably going to have. What are your thoughts on Justin?
Yeah, I've watched a bit recently. They're okay. They've had some decent results lately, haven't they? They've picked up a couple of wins. Too little, too late, though. Like you say, they're currently getting tonked by Leicester, so God knows how that's going to end up. And then we've got them Sunday. So they're probably going to have to... Well, they will go into the game Sunday, no question at all. They're going to have a go and try and win the game, aren't they? Which could play into our hands, really, because it will make it an open game. You know, we're in poor form at the moment, as it's been well documented. So it could be a chance for both teams just to go for it, really. You know, we've got nothing to lose as far as position goes in the league. So, yeah, I'm hoping we can have a real good go at them on Sunday. Allardyce... I don't know. He's finished, isn't he now? You know, this merry-go-round of rehiring managers because you're struggling down the bottom of the league, it very rarely works, does it? Especially, you know, with him, you know, he's been doing it for 20 years now, trying to get teams out of trouble. They've got one or two decent players. You know, I've always been a big fan of oh God, his name's gone up front. Played for us, Callum Robinson. Yeah, Callum Robinson. I liked him when he was at the Villa. I think he's a decent centre forward. You know, I think he'll do very well in the Championship for him when they get back down again, and no doubt he'll score on Sunday against us. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. I think it's a good opportunity for us to get 3 points and you know, get rid of this bad run we're on and get a bit of positivity going into the last 6 or 7 games.
We have got a lot of questions from the viewers and listeners regarding us, so, you know, we will get onto that in a second. Ryan looks like he's had a delivery come through. He's got some new shirts behind him. What are your thoughts going into that game?
Yeah, I thought a lot of it depended on tonight's result against Leicester. A lot they're getting beat 3-0 now, so that looks like it's going to end in defeat. So that might stump their momentum, because they would have been coming into the game with good momentum, with good results against Chelsea and Southampton, wasn't it? Was it Southampton 3-0? Yeah. So they're banging in goals. They're on fire, and we're very inconsistent. So there was quite a few nervous Villa fans out there, but I expect us to turn them over. Cash's bit of madness the other night has opened up a question whether Almo or Kessler. So you might see Kessler come into the team. Smith has done it before against the Baggies, hasn't he? When he brought Ramsey in for his debut in the Championship. So should be a good game. And like Justin touched on, Robertson's back at Villa Park. He's like big friends with Jack Grealish, isn't he? So he's going to be bang up for it. Johnson's back, but I'm fully expecting us to turn them over, to be honest.
I'm just not as optimistic as you two for some reason. I'm just, I don't know. It's got a weird feeling about this one. So we'll go to some of the thoughts of the listeners and viewers then. So Henry's put back with Elmo, probably his last appearance. Clean sheet is needed here for Martinez. We've got Shunna's put, I think we're going to be in for a tough game in all honesty. Holly's asked a question. She's put, is there any point at all in playing defensive midfielders? They have been very ineffective at protecting our back four. They cannot retain possession and they act like strangers. So Seb, do you want to answer that one? Have some thoughts on it?
That's a difficult one, that. I disagree that they don't give any cover to the back four. I think had we had no defensive midfielders last night, it could have been a lot more than just two. I agree they were naive in possession. You know, the amount of times that we were throwing it away and putting ourselves on the back foot through one of our own errors, you know, it was comical at times. But they're there to provide a cover, like they said, and they do it well. They do it well. As long as we can create that transition forward into attacking football just a bit cleaner, then we should be all right.
Yeah, so another question we've got is from Chill Villain. Thoughts on Pep Guardiola refusing to rule out Douglas Luiz's buyback? I thought this one had slightly gone away. I didn't really think they were probably going to go in for him. You know, I was speaking to Justin today. Echo what you were saying to me, Justin.
Yeah, I thought it had gone away, to be honest. But I think when you look at it in the cold light of day and just as a business deal, really, I think they're going to be looking very seriously about taking him back in the summer for many reasons. He's 22. Pep brought him into the country in the first place. So he obviously saw enough in him to sign him as a kid, even though they knew they'd struggle with work permits and stuff. So circumstances went against him, so he couldn't play for them. They sent him out on loan, I think, to Spain for a season. Then we managed to nick him and get a work permit. He's since become a Brazilian international. And his form has been very up and down. He's had long spells of when he's been absolutely outstanding. And then he's had long spells when he's just gone a little bit missing in games. But that's, again, he's 22, isn't he? And I was surprised as you when I heard the Pep sort of interview that he never ruled it out. So I think given that the muted amount is around about anything from 15 to 25 million, I think it's a good deal for him, if I'm honest. I'm not trying to sell him because I'd like to keep him. But I think if you're looking at it purely from their point of view, they've got Fernandinho, who's 36 in May. So they'll be looking for, I would think, to replace him. As I say, he already knows the kid. He speaks very highly of him. He would probably think he could, you know, get more out of him in Man City. And you probably would because of the players that are around him. You know, you get more time on the ball than he does at the Villa. And he wouldn't be under so much pressure as he is at the Villa. So you could see him flourishing in a team like Man City. I hope they don't come in for him because I think he's a great player and he'll only get better for us. But I do now seriously worry that they are going to exercise that clause now and take him back. I think it's till June, so we've got a bit of a nervous wait now for a few months to see if they will take him on. I presume it'll probably come down to maybe a finance decision at the end of the day. They'll probably have a look around and see what else is available in that area of the pitch and see how much it will cost. But I mean, to replace Fernandinho in the open market, you're going to be looking at 50, 60 million, aren't you, for the standard of player they want to go for. So with the squad they've got already, you know, 20, 25 million for Douglas Luiz, you know, and ease him in gently, you know, it's going to be very difficult for them to say no, I think, currently.
Right, and what are your thoughts on Douglas Luiz?
I think Justin's summed it up perfectly there. he could fit back into a Man City team, and his attributes are probably more suited to that side that we've seen yesterday, where there is less pressure on him. I think he'll stay. You know, I don't know. I just can't see City coming back in for him unless they're buying for a financial reason. You know, if you can buy him back for 25 million and sell him for 35, then they might exercise that option. But I can see him at Villa Park next season. I think he's still got improvement to go before he's a Manchester City a Manchester City player. And to be honest, if he was to rise his level again next season to where he was at the start of this season, even if he's worth 50 million, Manchester City can still come and buy him, can't they? Because they've got that clout behind them. So I'm hopeful he'll stay.
I do really hope he will stay, but either way, I do still feel like we need to address that area. I feel like we've got question marks there for me, and we've been mentioning it on a lot.
We have all season, haven't we?
The three, whatever we're going to go with next season, we need additions. Because I just think something just doesn't work, does it? Whatever we're trying at the minute, and maybe it's down to form. It's like saying if we got the Douglas Luiz at the start of the season, it would be a lot better, wouldn't we? But for whatever reason, he's not playing like that at the minute, and we really are struggling.
I think he needs to be more in the middle, though, more so than a holding midfielder. I think he's got the ability to dictate games for us and be that man to link it all up. So I think he could push further on next season.
I mean,
do you think looking at the way we play, and obviously modern football, touching on that defensive midfielder question, that when I started watching football a long time ago, there wasn't such thing as a defensive midfielder. You had a centre midfielder that did everything. Could get forward, score goals. They could, pass the ball around the midfield and would also get back and tackle. The like of Gerrard and Lampard did the lot. Vieira was seen as a defensive midfielder, but he scored goals and he got forward. Nowadays, it seems that you have to split your team up into this defenders, defensive midfielders, attacking midfielders, forwards. I would like to see us moving away from defensive midfielders, really. And if we are going to improve in that area, I think we've got to find an all-round midfielder that can sit in and do the job that Luiz and Nakamba does, but can also burst forward like Ian Taylor used to do. He was a good defensive midfielder. He was fantastic in the air, great tackler, but he used to get forward and score goals. That's what I want to see us doing now. I don't want to see us pigeonhole a defensive midfielder. I want us to see us really push on and find a player that can do the lot.
I don't think he's a defensive midfielder either. I just don't think he's one. I think, we look at his first game for Villa against Bournemouth. Absolute rocket, top corner. Do you know what I mean? Like he's capable, but he's never.
But he just has to. They make him sit in that role, don't they? Which means he can't get forward and he can't influence the play. A bit like we've had the debate with McGinn, haven't we? Lately, sitting back. He's not as good. Plays further forward. Yeah, he wasn't the best yesterday, but he got in that pocket. He scored a goal, didn't he? Straight away within 2 or 3 games playing that 10 role. So there's lots to work on, isn't there?
That's what Smith's always liked, though, hasn't he? He's never had like an enforcer there, like a water carrier doing the dirty work. It's a playmaker, really. It's a deep line playmaker. That's how he wants to play, isn't it? Because at Brentford, he used to have, was it Ryan Woods? Ryan Woods, the little kid. Yeah. He used to do it. And then when he come into us, he put Connor there, didn't he? And Connor played in that position to the playoff final. So I think we do need a nasty midfielder, don't we? Someone that's going to get stuck in, and a general. Yeah.
That's what we need, a general. Yeah. So Andy Holmes has put Kessler to start ? Seb?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for him starting. He's been ripping it up for the under-23s. The only probable question mark is that he came off midweek, I think, injured. If I'm not mistaken. So maybe it's a question of if he can regain fitness and if he'll be match fit. But with Elmo on the bench, there'd always be the opportunity to bring him off if an issue occurs. But yeah, I'd be all for it.
Me too. I would as well. So K4 Villain has put keep McGinn in an advanced role. He's so much more effective in that position. Totally agree. I think he's looked different. Do you know what I mean? When you're watching him play at the minute, he just looks like the old McGinn, I think, bursting through into the box. And I just think that's his position for me. Justin, what do you make of McGinn's playing further forward?
Yeah, I said earlier, he great to score that goal, wasn't it, for him? Good confidence boost after his performances with Scotland, and he's almost a focal point for Scotland, isn't he? Whereas he comes back to Villa and he has struggled this season. He hasn't replicated the form regularly that he would. I'm sure he's not happy with his performances this season, as we've seen from many of our players. And he's one of the few players, and one of the players really that next season will have to look at himself a bit and try and raise his levels. There's plenty of them in that squad now that, with owners that we've got and the investment that's come in, they're going to be looking over their shoulders. We love John McGinn as a fan base. He's phenomenally well liked by everybody, the club, the manager, the players. The fans adore him, but he's got to be a little bit careful. His form has got to improve. If you're just looking at it purely as brutally as a football point of view, he has got to get a bit better, and I think he knows that. And I hope and I'm sure he will get the time to improve and show us that he can do it on a regular basis. But yeah, I agree. He needs to play further forward and influence the game more.
I think he does know that, doesn't he? Because did you see the post-match interview after the game? And he was saying, he was sort of saying we've got to improve on the ball. Every single player has, and his performances have got to improve. And he said it was like doing his head in that he couldn't get on the score sheet for Villa, but he was for Scotland. So I think they know that they've got to up the game to stay a Villa player. I think moving forward.
I think we've got to keep a stable midfield. We had the exact same problem with the defence last season. We saw when we chopped and changed that players couldn't find their feet and play in a natural rhythm. We've had Connor there, we've had Jacob Ramsey, Sanson, Douglas, McGinn. The list goes on, but as soon as we find a stable midfield three, they'll be able to work on that connection, on that chemistry, and it should help us play more freely.
I agree. I think the defence is going nowhere. Do you know what I mean? It is pretty solid for us, and we just got to shore up that central midfield. And
it's no coincidence that at the start of the season we had a very settled three, didn't we? And look how good it was. The minute that three either form dropped or injuries occurred. Ever since, we've been on about it now for week upon week upon week. Our performance have been poor, and that midfield three has been poor. It's been chopped and changed and injured. So ever since that has gone, our form's dropped off. So he's one of the most important positions on the pitch, isn't it?
Definitely. Curtis Griffiths has put will be tough, mate, as they are sadly in decent form, but a great chance to fully use McGinn in attacking midfield and give Anwar a start. Wasn't impressed with Traore against Man City, but I think we move the ball well and can defend them and deal with their counters. We'll do well. We'll go to Gary Plaza. He's banging in the questions every week now, Gary.
Loves it, Gary, doesn't he?
He loves it. Got another question, guys. Defensively, we are miles ahead of last year, but have we really improved in our attack? Watkins has been brilliant, but without Jack, we create very little. Jack as a 10 and two new wingers are needed for me. Again, for me, when Grealish was out, my next main worry was the service towards Watkins, because I just think they played so well together. Like you said, the defence and what we've just been on about, the defence is loads better. But, as you try and climb that table, you need that quality, don't you, going forward? And although we are improving on it, we are lacking a little bit, aren't we? I think if you're looking at the goals from midfield this season, you're talking McGinn's got 2. Anwar had that real purple patch around Christmas time. Traore's dipped in with the odd 1 or 2. Barkley's got a couple. But apart from that, goals from midfield and Jack, not many backing up Watkins, is there, Ryan?
No, not at all. And you can add Douglas Luiz to that because he's got 0 as well. So that we all know that's where we're going to improve and that's where we're going to spend. And a lot of people say, we're just a one-man team without Jack. We're not. The defence is solid. We got a top striker. But yeah, in an attacking sense, we are a one-man team when Jack is out. So it will. The summer transfer dealings will evolve around finding that creativity.
Definitely. Knowles put, I'm going to ask this question again of Dean using the younger members to make the subs, if not get some game time for our remaining games. With West Brom fighting for their lives, will Villa struggle like the game against Sheffield United, Seb?
I think we need to be careful. If we introduce too many of them, like I said, the consistency will be non-existent. But I think if we can bed one or two in, perhaps give them just a few minutes, let them see what first team football's like, then, I can't really see there being any negatives with it, especially the fact that we've now afforded ourselves the comfortability that we're sat mid-table and, it doesn't really look like we're going anywhere now. The season's petering out. So if we could put one or two in there, then yeah, sure, but no more.
So that rounds up some of the questions. We'll just touch on the Super League. We spoke about it the other night, just as it was all breaking. But I'm catching up on my sleep. I am, because I was up till like 1 o'clock every night reading about it and seeing what was going on. Like, it was great viewing in the end, I thought. Do you want to add anything on it, Justin?
Farce, isn't it? Basically, utter farce. I think it's been pretty much widely known now that it's been driven by the Spanish clubs who are horrendously in debt, mainly Florentino Perez at Real Madrid. I mean, some of his comments are just farcical. Now, I think he said young kids haven't got a long attention span, so we'll have to shorten some of the games. I mean, this is a bloke that's been in football for decades. He's not someone that doesn't understand the game, but so to even consider these ridiculous things, it's what's happened is what it should have happened. It was nice to see the whole of the football community come together and fight it. And the right things happened. They've all pulled out with the tails between their legs. I hope they've all lost their £8 million deposit. And I hope they all get sanctions. It's a shame for the fans and the players that if they do get sanctions, but I think it needs to happen. When a club is poorly run by an owner and they go into administration, they get fined, don't they? And they get points deductions, and the fans don't deserve that. But ultimately, if you do something wrong, you have to get punished for it. And if they do get punished, then the fans then will realise that we have to make sure we back the right owners when they come in. It's a joke, and I'm glad it's dead.
I mean, you're in that age bracket, Seb, about the games being too long. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm no stranger to a good night's sleep. You boys know it as well as I do.
Good day sleep.
Yeah. You can't get hold of me until late afternoon. So I know what it's like. But I mean, it's just rubbish. I haven't heard so much shit in a long, long time. But I think just the whole dealing about it, they went about it completely in the wrong way. Not that there was a good way to go about it, but it was a shocker. They've had a shocker, every single one of them. And I hope they do get punished. But sadly, I can't see it happening. I think the Premier League will welcome them back with open arms, and they can wipe their sweat off of their forehead, the fact that they no longer have to carry through with what they said that they were threatening. But something has to be done.
Yeah,
I think they need to close the pubs, because I think them had too much beer, mate, and just went on a Madden on Sunday night, and then must have woke up Monday morning and gone, fucking hell, what's going on here, man? And then back down straight away. But fair play to the Chelsea fans for giving it some as well. It was actually nice to hear some football chanting.
I know.
I haven't heard that for a while, so that was quite cool. But yeah, the greedy six have backed down, haven't they?
Mad stuff this week. So we'll finish off then. Score predictions. West Brom. I'm going to go 2-1 Villa. Ryan?
Fuck the Albion. 3-2 to the Villa.
Justin?
I really want to say 8-0. We're not going to. I'll go 2-0 Villa.
Seb?
Yeah, I'll go 2-1, and I'll throw Ross Barkley to score the winner in there.
Pile on it. Right, thanks for watching, everyone. Subscribe. I hope you like this episode. And yeah, we'll be on soon. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.